My nearly adult female parents, both 35, had me young and never married. I usually spend 1 week with my dad and 1 week with my mom, since they live pretty close and are friendly. My dad is single now, but my mom has been dating Jerry, 38, for the past 8 years. He's amazing not only towards my mom, but with me too. He and my dad are friends, and I know I can trust them both. My problem is my mom, who never had an issue letting me know that I ruined her life. Sometimes she's an amazing mom, sometimes she's just not, and this was one of those times. The issue happened last Friday. While I was in the shower, I felt a small lump on the right side of one of my breasts. I freaked out and thought that if I ignored it, it would just disappear. So I kept showering, and when I went out, I got half dressed. I started to inspect myself again, and I had the door in front of me. Out of nowhere, Jerry opens the door and we both react. I cover myself and he turns around, starts to say sorry, closes the door and leaves. I felt bad, of course, but I know that Jerry didn't do it with ill intention since the shower wasn't running and I forgot to lock the door. A few hours later, Jerry comes into my room and starts to apologize to me. He says that he saw my door closed and thought I was in my room and he was in an emergency to get into the bathroom. He understood that things will inevitably be weird between us for a while and that we should tell my mom. I ask him to please don't tell her, but he says if we keep it a secret, it won't look good and that my mom has to know and that he'll give me all the space I want, but we can't and shouldn't keep this between us. I agreed and we both went down and told my mom. She starts to berate me for flashing to Jerry that she's always knew I wanted her man and starts to call me names. Jerry tries to explain to her that it wasn't like that and that he accidentally opened the door. My mom says that he doesn't need to defend me, and she says that I have to go to my room without dinner for being promiscuous. I did go to my room, but I called my dad to pick me up and explained what happened and that I didn't feel comfortable here, not for Jerry, but for my mom. He then tells me to pack more stuff than usual and that he'll be here in no time. After 10 minutes, I go downstairs and my mom and dad are fighting, and he's telling her that I won't be back until she apologizes to me. My mom called me an idiot for letting my dad know our personal business and for lying to him. The next day she called me angry because Jerry dumped her for that reaction. Also, before anyone worries, the lump in my breast was an ingrown hair that I never noticed. My dad took me to the doctor and they ran some tests just to make sure, but everything came clear. Jerry called her out when she called me names and only left after my dad picked me up. He lives with us full time, so I guess he waited for me to be safe. We haven't spoken since then. My dad said that I don't need to be back at my mom's next week and stay here if I want to. I know that my mom's going to fight him because although he doesn't pay child support, my dad gave her some monthly money in case of an emergency. Jerry used to give her money too. She doesn't have a job or anything. That's why she kept me there despite our bad habits. And I felt that I had to stay because I didn't want her to be alone. She didn't keep it all. I used to get $20 weekly from her. Not the idiot. Your mom is a mean woman, and you never have to keep it a secret when somebody is treating you poorly. You do not owe her immediate forgiveness, if at all. Do not let her cut you down or bully you. She sounds like she has some toxic issues that she needs to work out independently, without you around as her punching bag. Also, give your dad a high five. He sounds fantastic and has your best interest at heart. Can we also give Jerry here a high five too? It sounded like he handled this 100% correctly, especially dumping the mom part. He handled the entire situation appropriately. The whole bathroom incident may feel weird and awkward, but it's almost inevitable when you live with others. It just happens. The mom is the TA here. She's jealous and at least a bit crazy. She threw away her relationship with Jerry over something stupid and threw away her relationship with her daughter. Yeah, it seems like Jerry hasn't seen this side of her, or else she's lied to him about incidents in the past. He was the one who made the mistake, and when she refused to believe him and doubled down, he couldn't turn away from her being so obsessive, insisting her daughter did something wrong. Like, that had to be weird. Someone demanding something went differently than something they weren't even there for. Jesus. I met a dude on Tinder a few weeks ago, and we seemed to really hit it off. We had many of the same hobbies and I felt a spark between us that I'm sure he felt too. So after we got past the talking phase, we decided to meet at his house for coffee. It was great when I arrived. We talked loads and even held hands. However, I was on my period, and after a couple of hours, I asked for the bathroom and he directs me to it. After I finished changing, I noticed his trash can is pretty full. Not sure what to do, I wrap it in toilet paper and sort of smooth it into the trash can so it isn't sitting on the edge. We hang out for about an hour more, and he excuses himself to the bathroom. A few minutes pass by, and he comes out and says he needs to talk to me. He says that I shouldn't have thrown away my pad because he might touch it when taking out the trash, and it was gross and unsanitary. Apparently, he saw that the trash looked different, unwrapped the toilet paper, and saw my used pad. I was mortified. I apologized profusely, and he seemed to take it well. He just told me not to do it again, and if I needed to, just walk a few blocks to the nearby grocery store to change. I left after that, not thinking too much of it. However, I've recounted the events to a few friends, and they think he's a major idiot. So I'm not entirely sure. He was really kind about it and didn't seem to get angry, but I'm also starting to see their point too. It's a normal body process for people with a uterus, and I agree should be more normalized. I'm just not sure what to think. Am I the idiot? I must be dreaming. His trash looked different, so he dug through and fished out your used maxi pad, then insisted you walk several blocks next time to a store's bathroom to change it? And you apologized? Clearly this dude is so abusive and insane, he can't even manage to hide it for a few months. Not the idiot. You were discreet. You wrapped it and pushed it into the trash. He had to go out of his way to find out what it was. He's rummaging through the trash can, and unwrapping it made his complaint that he might have touched it, taking out the trash utterly ridiculous. Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to figure out what a small roll of something wrapped in paper in the bathroom bin when you have a girl over is. You don't need to be Sherlock Holmes to deduce it's used hygiene stuff. Also, stuff someone puts in the bathroom bin isn't some great mystery you need to unravel. If someone puts something in the bin, it probably belongs in the bin. What is wrong with this dude? Seriously, not to mention that he suggested she walk a few blocks to change her pad. I can't help but wonder if he, God forbid, were to live with a woman, would he demand she walks a few blocks several times a day to dispose of her pads? This guy's a douche canoe. OP, you need to drop this guy. He's not worth your time or energy. Find a real man, not someone with such a frail ego. Update. I actually texted him about our issue, and he gave me a response. He told me that, obviously, if we were to get serious with each other, he'd just have me take birth control so I wouldn't bleed everywhere. Yeah, I don't think I want anything to do with this guy. My wife is a big fan of rock music. About a month ago, she started talking about one of her favorite bands and how cute and talented the lead singer is. Of course, that is no problem, and I'm not jealous of a random celebrity. However, she then proceeded to tell me this lead singer is her exact type and her dream man. She even said at one point, and I quote, "If only he wasn't married," but tried to make it sound like a joke. For context, this man literally could not be more different from me. I'm on the bigger side, mixed race, short hair, and the musician is a skinny white dude with long hair. I know she didn't mean to be hurtful towards me. Still, it kinda stung to hear straight up that I'm different from her dream type appearance-wise. Her comments brought up some insecurities I thought I had gotten over, but it wasn't a big deal, so I didn't let her know this upset me at the time and moved on from it. Turns out the band is coming to our city in a few weeks. My wife originally wasn't able to get tickets since they are so expensive. However, this morning she texted me that her coworker bought tickets but can't make it and is willing to resell the 2 tickets to my wife for a much lower price. She called me to confirm that I would go with her and she should go ahead and get the tickets. I took a minute but said, honestly, I'd rather not accompany you to a concert where you're just going to be fawning over your dream man the whole time. She seemed totally shocked by this and responded, why are you making this about you? We talked it out for a bit, but I didn't back down and told her I'm not interested in going. She can, of course, take a friend or someone else, but I simply don't feel like going with her. This upset her a lot more than I thought it would, and she came home from work nearly in tears, asking why I'm being petty and selfish by not going with her. She said the singer is just a dumb celebrity crush she was rambling about. It makes no sense for me to be taking it personally and making this an issue between us. I told her I'm not mad at her or trying to start drama. I just would prefer not to accompany her to this particular show. We haven't talked since last night, and I don't really feel like apologizing. Am I the idiot for not budging on this? You are the idiot. You're being selfish, petty, and childishly insecure. Everyone gets celebrity crushes, and mature adults can recognize the difference between I choose you to be my life partner and ooh, that celebrity is enjoyable to look at. I feel bad for your wife. You are the idiot. Who gets jealous of a rock star? Dude, if he was your neighbor or for some reason visits her place of business often, maybe I'd understand because the chances of them meeting and hitting it off would be slightly greater. But come on, get over yourself. Be nice and take your lady out to dinner before the show. Don't be silly. I'm actually super surprised with all the "you are the idiot" comments here. It's not like you're preventing her from going to the concert. You just don't want to go with her. I can understand how it may be a bit hurtful to hear your wife constantly go on about wishing she was with someone else. It doesn't matter if it's a complete fantasy that would never happen. However, saying someone the exact opposite of you is her exact type sounds harsh. Maybe she didn't mean it that way, but I don't think it's unreasonable for you to be hurt. Let her find a friend to go with her. You are not the idiot. You are the idiot. This kind of fantasy crush and sharing with your partner about it isn't terribly uncommon or unreasonable, but OP's wife messed up and actually hurt him, clearly unintentionally, but the hurt was still done. And then he messed up by pretending to himself and to her that it was no big deal when he was in fact quite hurt by it, and it brought up insecurities for him. OP is in the wrong for sweeping those feelings under the rug instead of talking with her honestly about them and then blindsiding her with them when she had the rare chance to purchase tickets and needed to act fast. I'm getting married soon, and I invited my mother-in-law wedding dress shopping as an olive branch. We don't have a great relationship, but there's some blame on both sides and some cultural differences we both could have handled better. I found the dress, but it is big, and I mentioned not having room for it in my closet and not really wanting it in the house because I don't want my fiancé to see it. Mother-in-law said she could keep it for me, and I guess I made a face because she asked about it and I was honest. Mother-in-law and father-in-law were separated at some point, about 15 years ago. He was engaged to another woman. Mother-in-law was in their bedroom, and he left her alone for a moment. She apparently found the dress, and he says she put it on. She denies that part, and she ripped it on purpose and took lipstick to it. For some reason, he liked that and asked her to remarry him. I was honest that that story was very off-putting to me. I just don't feel comfortable letting her have the dress when I know she doesn't like me and isn't thrilled about the wedding, and I know she did that. Mother-in-law got very upset and said I humiliated her in front of the bridal party and my mom and called me ridiculously judgmental. Father-in-law called my fiancé and said I was bullying her for something she did years ago, that it was a crime of passion, and she doesn't care about me enough to do something like that. My fiancé is on my side, so that's good, but I don't know if I handled it wrong. I brought it up in front of people and maybe should have lied. I am holding her accountable for something she did a long time ago and making the relationship awkward by implying she would do it again. Not the idiot for not keeping it at your mother-in-law's. You say you took her as an olive branch, so there's already stuff going on between you, and she might have another moment of passion when you tell her she can't have or do something. That being a crime of passion does not make it better. That just means that mother-in-law lacks any sort of impulse control. You say you already know she dislikes you, so you aren't losing much by upsetting her. Your wedding dress is a one-time purchase that you sunk a lot of cash into, where if she has another passion attack, you'll be scrambling at the last minute to replace. So go with your gut on this one, especially since your fiancé is on your side. Also, the argument that she doesn't care enough about you to do something like that is not reassuring. If she really doesn't care enough, it shouldn't bother her that you aren't keeping the dress there. I gotta admit, there seems to be a whole lot of crazy going on at your in-laws' house. I agree. And it's very telling that father-in-law told her mother-in-law wouldn't do anything to the dress because she doesn't care about OP enough. Really? This is the woman your son will be marrying, and you don't care about her? While the relationship might not be close, you would think they would at least care about her, since she's the person that their son has chose as his future wife. Thankfully, her fiancé has her back on this one. You are the idiot, in my opinion. You said you had nowhere to keep it, so she offered to let you keep it at her house. Then you brought up a terrible memory she's probably really ashamed of, accusing her of basically being crazy. Maybe she is, but there is nothing here to suggest she's going to destroy your wedding dress. Also, haven't you ever heard of white lies or changing the subject? If ever there was a time to not give the actual reason, this was it. So I, female 19, am with my best friend, female 20, at Disneyland for my birthday in a few days. We are at a park with a popular ride that usually has wait times of 1 hour to 1.5 hours. We had already ridden this ride a few times, but decided to ride it once more before leaving yesterday. So we got in line at the back when this family with 13 people came behind us. They had matching t-shirts. They yelled at this man 20 feet ahead of us, who had their shirt on. He told them to come here, and a man said, "Excuse me," to me, and started to try to walk past me. Now, I am all for letting people go to their relatives or friends to join them in line. That's fine. But this line takes 1 hour, and they had like 13 people. I let people in front of me all day, but I was done and wanted to leave. I said, "Sorry, no." She looked puzzled and said, "Excuse me, I need to get to my husband." I said, "Just you?" She said, "No, my whole family." I said, "Yeah, no way I'm letting 20 people in front of me." She got really mad and called me a witch for ruining her day with her family. And I said she should have thought about getting in line with him before. She said they were getting food, and I said, "Too bad." My friend said we should just let them go, but I was done with this and stood my ground. We started arguing, and every time the line would move up, I moved up and didn't let her in. She eventually complained to a staff member, and the staff asked me if I wouldn't mind moving, and I said no. So the staff member said he could not help her. She called me a witch and called her husband, and he shoved past me. I said some nasty words, and she was going to say something else, but her husband pulled her away. My best friend was weird about it, but my mom straight up told me that was a crappy thing to do, and I should have let them through. I've been thinking about it all day. Am I the idiot for this? Not the idiot. I mean, 13 people? That's ridiculous. The husband should have gone back to join them like he did at the end. If you want to get food, you risk getting in line later. You can't have someone save your spot so you can get food. I could see a parent with the kids, or the parent joining the parent with the kids, but that's the limit. Any more than one adult and like 2 little kids, and it's just line jumping. I'm glad the employee didn't force you to relent. Not the idiot. Place holding is acceptable for 1 or 2, maybe 3 people. Not an entire football team's worth of extended family members and friends. Should you have said what you said? Probably not, but you were being baited, and Qzilla should have dropped it after the first refusal.